hospital additions, car dealerships,
Okay.
large stuff like that. They had another kind of division where they did some home stuff, but my dad, I mean, they own a lumber yard. He's built a couple houses himself, so I could probably, I mean, I could definitely oversee the building of my own house and know when things are, right and wrong, but I would not even come close to trying to want to accomplish that right now.
Right.
So that's kind of 4 years in that business. Masonry apprenticeship, I got into about a third year as an apprentice, and then got the old real estate license. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And so since you got your real estate license, I know you posted on Facebook a little while ago. There's like a 4 years anniversary for you.
yeah.
And you got into it 4 years ago, and now you've got a team of people that are working for you.
Small, yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of growth, and then the wrong people kind of had to cut back and find the right people. So right now it's myself and an admin.
Okay.
We are actively recruiting we have one person who's kind of in the process of getting her license. She's been licensed before, let it lapse. She's coming back.
Yeah.
So that's one. And then my other admin right now is on mat leave. So she'll be coming back kind of end of the year. But yeah, I mean, we're looking to grow. I mean, we don't want to grow too fast in terms of, I'm so busy right now. Yeah, you gotta find the right people. You gotta find the right, leverage out the right training and get people trained. Having like you guys and my other, like my coach, like I'm with Captain Black Coaching. They help in terms of getting some of those people trained in the right ways. But yeah, the wrong people will cost you way more than, I'd rather hire the right person now and not have as much business for them and give them my business essentially. Just knowing that I have the right person, then wait till I'm super swamped, just hire somebody out of straight need, and then they just screw everything up and it costs me 10 times, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Listen, I mean, we've grown over the last 7 years that we've been operating for about 7 years, but over the last 2-3 years, we've grown immensely. And one of the hardest things that I've actually had to go through is I call these human problems. We have server issues and then we have human issues.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've really figured out is hire fast and fire fast.
Totally.
In the first couple of weeks of working with somebody, whether they're really going to work out or not. Whether they're going to be at the level. I understand that some people, might not have the skill, and you got to teach a skill. But if they don't have the will, I've always been told hire will, not knowledge. If you have if you have one guy that's really knowledgeable or girl that's really knowledgeable but lacks that willpower, never pick that knowledge or willpower. I will any day pick somebody that has the will than knowledge, and I'll teach them what they need to understand.
That's funny because, I mean, my wife and I, we coached high-level basketball for a long time, like grade 11 and 12 girls that are off to college, university, kind of the year after us.
Yeah.
And we always picked our team like, yeah, you have to have skills. You have to have the basic skills, but we can teach skills, right? You can't teach hard work. I can't teach dedication. I can't teach you showing up on time. I can't teach, hunger. Like those are things that you either have or you don't have.
Yeah.
And when I was hiring like these agents that just didn't work out, it's funny. I just completely forgot that. And I was just kind of hiring this person who maybe had some experience, had this, had that, but I just knew I'm like, I'll teach them the work ethic. I'll show them how to do this. I'll show them to work hard. And it's bullshit. It won't work, right? So I'm like, you know what? I got to go back to what I know, and what I know is picking really good, like coaching and building that person up who was maybe your 13th player on a 13, and then the next year all of a sudden she's your top 5 or 6 because she put in the time, she put in the energy. Like 90% of life is just showing up, right? I mean, just be there and do it. And so I can teach them that 10%. So that's kind of how we've kind of regressed a little bit, taking a step back. But I like what you said, hire fast, fire fast. When we were looking to hire our admin to take over for the one who's on mat leave, we kind of had our favorite before her. So we had 270 applicants, which is insane. 65 you could delete just by the way they sent the email in.
Yeah.
I got a couple that were a forward from another job that they had applied for. So they applied to a car dealership and then they just forwarded me their resume from the application I sent. I'll delete that one, right? If you can't send me an email.
I'm sure some people are going to actually want to know that are looking to recruit and hire a team. Where did you post? What did you post on? What forum?
So yeah, posted on our Facebook page and my personal page. The problem with that is you're going to get a lot of friends and family that are just interested. You know, not necessarily the best hires sometimes are ones that you know really, really well, because you know, if things don't work out, it can get a little bit touchy there. But Indeed was the major one. Indeed, once you put it on Indeed, it goes to so many places. So yeah, I think we had, when I hired my first admin, we had like 340 applicants for, I think back then, I think I posted it as a 12 to 15 hour per hour job. This was back in 2016.
Yeah.
It was 340, which was kind of insane. And then this one here, we had 270. We deleted probably 70. We had 200, and then I kind of skimmed through a bunch. Got to a top 20, phoned those 20, got to a top 7. Planned on interviewing 7. 2 could never get a time together that I could come in for an interview, so we just interviewed 5. And we had one kind of going into the last, and I'm like, you know, I just kept comparing everyone back to this one that I'm like, this is going to be the one. And then we had our last interview, and I'm like, hey, it was on a Wednesday. I'm like, I'll let you know by Friday. I think she got in her car. She's listening right now. So I think she got in her car, and I called her while she was like still in the parking lot. And I said, hey, listen, just want to let you know, like, we're not make a decision by Friday, but we've kind of made it right now. It's yours if you want it, right? So
you kind of know,
you know, right? I mean, it's just that intuition, and you know,
after you've seen so many people, it becomes quite evident that you know who's the right choice. I'll give you one tip that we've actually, because we've gone through the same process of getting just inundated by resumes. So what we did is actually we would post the request for a resume, but we tell them we need them to submit a video of themselves answering a certain number of questions that we have on video. Cool. And whether they upload that video to YouTube and make it unlisted or whatever they can figure out, because that also shows us whether they have the capacity to actually understand how to use technology to upload their own video onto YouTube.
100%.
So yeah, that way you have the ability to cut out a large percentage of those people. Out of 290 resumes, I would be surprised if maybe 15 of them actually submitted their resume by video.
So we do something similar. We don't do the video because that's not a massive part of their responsibilities. But we send a DISC assessment. Yep. So we send them a DISC profile, fill it out, and we just say get it back to us as soon as you can. But basically, right then, that's when the interview starts essentially. Right. So if they're getting it back to us within 24 hours, perfect. That's great. And we understand people are busy, but it's 10 minutes, it's 15 minutes. How bad do you want this job? Whatever. Exactly. The people that don't fill it out, perfect. I don't need to make, I can just park that one and don't have to worry about that. So yeah, sending something out that they have to at that next level, not just, hey, I got your resume, you want to come in for an interview? Like, you don't know that person. So I want to know, hey, I got your resume, thanks very much. Please complete this DISC assessment. They send it back to me, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, perfect. Profiles match, or should be probably opposite of mine, which they are. But if I have somebody like super highly driven and go, I'm like, that's probably not the best admin, right? So so the DISC assessment's been huge for helping us. Like we're kind of 2 for 2 on admin. Our admin have both been awesome. Realtors is where we struggle to hire, but hey, that's what it is, right? Live and learn.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you. You know what? We didn't really. It's 2:05 already, so we're 5 minutes in. We're live on Facebook as well on my page. We've got about probably 50 or 60 people watching us on Facebook. We are live on our webinar, and today's topic is going to be internet leads. We want to talk to you a little bit about internet leads, find out everything that we can. I want to involve the people that are on Facebook. I want to involve people that are on the webinar. I'd love for them to ask questions and have you answer them, because it's best that when it comes from somebody who's actually using the system and using what they're doing. And I've got some questions that I'd love to ask you right from the get-go and kind of introduce everybody. So first off, to everybody out there who's on this webinar that's been interested in internet leads, I want to dive into a little bit and show you exactly where these leads come from, so you can kind of get a sense of what we're doing. A lot of times people are confused where they come from, where these leads being driven from, what do they really want from us. So I want to give them that info right off the get-go, so you can kind of have an idea of exactly what we're talking about. So I'm going to share my screen. Where is my quick sec? And Zoom controller. is, there it is. Share screen and select that. Okay. So as an example, anybody who is looking for a home these days jumps online typically to start their process of looking. And as a lot of you know, people will go to realtor.ca, people will go to Zillow in the States, people will go to many other websites, but they also go on Google and search for homes for sale in whatever area they're looking for. Now, homes for sale is just one keyword that they use. We use thousands of different keywords to drive these people to our website and essentially show them listings on the website. And as they're browsing through those listings, we end up asking them for their information. They end up registering, and they become a lead, which we're going to talk about with Drew and go through that, to kind of give you guys an idea exactly how he deals with those leads, what he does with them, how many he's been able to convert. And we'll also go a little bit into figuring out, what do you hate about internet leads, so we can kind of get that out of the way as well. But what we truly want to do is show you guys exactly what it's like and exactly what you're supposed to be getting and what you're going to be exposed to, so you kind of know exactly how to deal with this stuff. So that's where we're getting these leads from. It's primarily search engine. It's primarily people that are on Google looking for listings. We do have the ability to target people on Facebook as well. Quality of leads from Google and Facebook is going to be a little bit different. We find that Google leads are typically a little bit of a higher quality, primarily because they have an intent, meaning that they're actually searching for homes for sale, where people on Facebook are browsing through, Facebook, and they see the ad and they're responding out of curiosity. There's also people that are responding because they truly want to buy a property, but we find that in a general sense, the quality of leads on Google are going to be a little bit better. Now, in a general sense, when I talk about quality, I want to make sure you guys also understand internet leads have never been about quality in general. Internet leads have always been about quantity, and we want to get as many of these leads as we possibly can and get through them as fast as we can to get to the few that are actually good. And we'll have an example with Drew. We'll get an idea of exactly how many leads he's generated to get to the transactions that he's done, to get to the number of 137K in 2017. So let's start with that. When you first started with us back, I believe you started in December, just towards the end of December in 2017. So your first month probably would have been like January.
December 2016, yeah.
Yeah, December 2016, yes. And then your first month would have been January 2017. And so from January 2017 up until the end of that year, we looked at what the total amount spent was. It was like $14,900. So $15,000. Not sorry, 14,000. 4,000 something. So total spend was $5,000. Do you know approximately how many leads you got for that year?
It's going to be, I think, just shy of 900, maybe. I think if you went on the back end, you might be able to.
It up. Yeah, let me
pull that up.
Yeah,
and 900. I'm going to say roughly 3 a day. So 900 to maybe 1,050, somewhere in there.
Okay, so let's just use that number for now. So let's say 950 leads.
Yep.
And when we look at this, so guys, when we look at he's got 950 leads, and sometimes agents think that if I get 100 leads, I'm going to get 20 deals. No, that's not going to happen. Yeah, there's a lot of times there's really nothing we can do to make the quality of these leads better. Primarily because when we get to fake leads, and we get them all the time, Drew, approximately out of 100 leads, how many would you say are completely fake, where both phone number and email are fake?
Out of 100, I would say that both are kind of like some BS. I would say it'd be 1 out of 100, to be honest, for us, maybe 2.
So quality-wise, I do want to mention one thing. Quality-wise, when it comes to the outskirts, is generally better. So what I mean by outskirts is, when we're in Toronto and in any bigger city, really, for that matter, the quality of leads tends to go down, primarily because people do enter a lot of times fake info. Now, whether that's other real estate agents that are entering BS info, or whether it's people that are just so inundated with everyday life, they're just putting in crap. In the city, it's going to be worse. So in the city, when we look at the average fake ratio, I would say that about 30% or so, maybe to 40% sometimes, is the number of fake leads. So out of 100 leads,
Wow.
we would have a 30 fake leads. So yeah, it tends to be quite high. So now, even when you spend, so let's say you spend for 100 leads, let's say you spend $1,000 for 100 leads. And that means it's about $10 a lead. And out of those 100 leads, we're throwing away 35. We're working with the remainder. Now, out of the remainder, typically the conversion rate on these internet leads is about 1.5% to 2% max when you first get into this. So, when you're getting 100 leads, you're expecting to close about 1 to 2 leads out of those 100 leads. So if you think about the cost, if it's costing you $1,000 to get 100 leads, that means your cost per transaction in this instance is about $1,000 per transaction. The one thing that we have to understand is that we have to make these phone calls. So when we get these internet leads, one of the primary things is if you expect these leads to kind of convert themselves and have these leads call you, it's not going to happen. Can you elaborate about how do you make your phone calls? Like we all watched Anthony on the Hacks group actually do some live calling, which is awesome. Maybe talk a little bit about what your script is like, what you do, and how you follow up.
Yeah, so I think I struggled at first. Not having a script. I mean, I think Rio was my trainer, and I kind of was like, I know it's fine. I'm pretty good on the phone. I like to talk, pretty personable. I can do this myself. And I didn't. Yeah, I struggled. I had the campaign set up. I thought, I'll just email these people. I'll send them a text, whatever. But, getting them on the phone is game changing, right? I mean, once you get on the phone, you can get into the system, you can get into your scripts. So I struggled for the first little bit, kind of getting frustrated, I was lazy about it, thinking that this is just going to all happen for me, fall into my lap. And hey, what, if I get one deal a year out of it, it pays for itself. Like that's just the mentality so much with realtors. Oh, if I get one deal from this, well, eventually you have 55 things that, well, if I get one deal from one of these 55 things, like all of a sudden you're broke, right? So I think, having the integration with, and Anthony Brown, like his script was awesome. We've adapted that and we've made it our own, but we're using something similar. But going at it from multifaceted ways. So having the auto text, having a bomb, so we send them a bomb when they reply. Nice. It's just a stock one that I've created that just basically says, hey, got your info, so you're signed up for new listings. In a matter of the next 24 hours, we're going to send you listings that match your criteria. Just wanted to send you a quick little video so you can put a face to a name. So that way, when we're talking in the future, you know exactly who you're dealing with. Something simple like that. I have it recorded so that way, Sam can always just click, boom, send that. And it doesn't have to be me recording, every time a lead comes in, I'm sending a new video. It's just a very, pretty stock, feels personal. Gotten great open rates from that. So we send an email just right away. It's just as soon as it comes in, the email gets sent to them. We also send them a text if the number's right. So that way when we send the text, we can know if it's a landline or if it isn't cell. Right. We'll also know that if it's a real number or a fake number, it'll come back. And then we send the bomb, and bomb we found has been a great kind of middle ground between email and phone call. So it's allowed people to more. Once I call them, I'm calling them after I send that, they already know who I am a little bit. So they're more likely to stay on the phone with me for maybe they'll give me the time of day, right? Right. They don't know who Drew McIntosh is. Because I mean, a lot of these are unbranded kind of, PPC campaigns. So yeah, my name's down there on the bottom on a gray tone, right? They're not reading it, right? So they're just looking for free info. So when Drew McIntosh calls them, and that's what I was doing at first, just calling them, hey, it's Drew, you signed up for my website. And they're like, what website? Right? Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? Right. So, oh yeah, I know. And then I'm like, well, I don't even know what my website looks like, right? Because you guys are just pounding it out and getting me all these leads, but I don't know where they're coming from. So I had to do a little self-investigation to see what was going on. And then
Drew, just to stop you there for a second, because this is a typical agent. It's so funny. So you made $137,000 from this in 2017. And what I love is the fact that when we first started this, you had absolutely no clue where they were even coming from. You don't even know what experience a lead would have gone through to get to the point where they've gotten through where you have their info, which is.
I knew that John Smith was looking for 400 to 600 with a 3-bed, 2-bath, and his phone number and email were on my doorstep. And that's it. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, hey John, you just signed up for my website. He's like, sorry, who's this?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's Drew. Yeah, you know, you literally just signed up like 5 minutes ago. Just wanted. He's like, Drew, no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so this is the
You know,
typical frustration that a lot of times when we get into this game of calling internet leads, this is exactly what you get. And if you don't have a script to follow,
totally.
if you don't have that to follow, it becomes really hard to actually, get what you want out of these guys. Because what we truly want is just have a conversation with them.
Totally.
Have
That's
a chat with them, laid back. We don't have to be, in any kind of salesy mode. In this point, all we're trying to do is figure out what's their motivation and what's their timeline. If I can
totally.
figure out those two things, we can know whether we're going to be able to work together or not. So, never go into a sales pitch immediately. One thing that I'll tell everybody here is we also hired a lady called Beverly Ruffner. Beverly Ruffner has been doing internet lead qualification for a really long time. It's for about 12 years, I believe. So we have her come by twice a month, and she does live calling for us. She actually calls leads live for all of our clients, and we stream these webinars directly to our private agent locator Facebook group, so you can join in anytime, listen to it later on if you don't have the ability to listen right away. And what's incredible is just what she does, how she breaks down the wall of that wall, the immediate wall that comes up when you call a lead, how she breaks down that wall. And real live, actually, while we had I think 50 people watching, she had a lady come on and said, you know what, I'm not interested. I was just browsing. And she, within 5 minutes, had that lady laughing, talking, chatting back and forth, and even setting an appointment with her to actually see her, which was incredible to see. And that's that difference. One of the biggest differentiating factors between agents that do okay and agents that do anything and agents that do incredibly well is the script that you use. So I hope now that you know a lot more in 2018, do you think that in 2018 you're going to be able to do a few more transactions from the knowledge you've acquired?
Yeah, so it's funny. I just kind of did that this morning. We have a whiteboard up here. Not like the one kind of not different than the one you have behind you. I have kind of our top buyers right now that we're working with. So these are people that, if the right property came up, they'd kind of pounce on it.
Right.
We've shown them properties. We could or could not have a BRA with them, but we have 17 up there right now, and 11 of them are Agent Locator. So 11 of our 17 top buyers right now are through Agent Locator.
That's awesome.
I added up their kind of their budget. So I just say if they're looking for between 4 and 6, I just put them at 500 as potential, and those potential 11 people are 6.35 million in sales, which would be 158,000 in commission. So just from those people. And now we have other people right now that we have offers kind of in sign back that are through Agent Locator. And it's April 3rd, right? Or 4th, 3rd? Yeah. So, I mean, we have a couple carryovers from 2017, but a lot of those are 2018 leads. So yeah, that 137, I mean, we kind of wanted to double that this year and go for a 250 to 290 kind of number.
Yep.
And
that's just so you guys know, that's doubling. Are you, because I don't think you, and I have double checked, have you increased your budget yet on Google so you can spend more? You haven't. Okay.
No.
And no. I would keep it the same, because essentially you're getting double from what you already have, because you know how to convert them better.
I'm just better. Yeah, totally. Everything is better. I mean, and that's just persistence. It's learning. It's investing time into, actually scripting and having role playing and having all of that kind of stuff. Right. So that, I'm going to hopefully double that with my same $5,000 investment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'd like to ask anybody on Facebook, whoever has a question, you guys can ask the question. I'll go back and look at the actual Facebook chat window here. Ask me a question, ask Andrew a question, anything that you guys have a question on. Drew's more than happy to answer it. I know. Just out of curiosity, and I've had agents actually ask me this, the fact that you spent $5,000, you got $137,000 back. A lot of times agents don't understand why agents share. So why are you sharing this? Why are you being so nice to us?
So I mean, transparency has always been a huge part of my life in terms of business with clients. Fully, I find that everything I put out, I get back 3-4 times minimum. So last year we made a conscious decision to up our agent referrals and also to refer out business. So my first year, like I started in 2014, I was driving kind of everywhere within an hour, which for a lot of people listening might seem like nothing.
Right.
Sometimes it's an hour just to get across the city from, so I get that, but I don't go more than 25 minutes from my house. So we refer everything out, and everything that we've referred out, I mean, we've gotten back, 2-3 times the referrals back, just because now we have those referral partners. With this stuff here, I mean, if I can help somebody all of a sudden hook up with you guys or somebody else, maybe it's not even, I don't know. I mean, you guys are the best that I've seen. So I have no problem preaching to you guys, but if I can put an extra 25 to 150 in another agent's pocket because of this webinar, they're hopefully going to be like, you know what, Drew, you helped me out a lot. Maybe they'll have some questions later on, ask me some questions, and maybe I become the Aurelia guy, right? And maybe I get a referral out of it, or maybe I don't. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I've always been a teacher, a sharer. That's why for sure. That's why we coach basketball. We don't get paid for that. We enjoy it, right? So yeah, I've those realtors that are kind of, this is how much I make and keeping it all in. Like, I don't know. That's just not me. No, I mean, I'm 30. I have no problem telling people, how much I made last year in total gross. And if someone wants to ask me that, I'll share that with them. If people really wanted to find out the information, they can find it, with award levels and stuff like that, whether it's Remax, Royal LePage, whatever. But I don't know. I have no problem sharing anything with anyone. Transparency is just kind of it's a huge part of our business. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know what? It's awesome to have people that are willing to share and always very open. And we've seen that with a lot of the groups that are out there, specifically Real Estate Hacks group. For whoever's not part of that, definitely Google or Facebook Real Estate Hacks and join. A lot of great content, a lot of great information shared, and you share quite a bit. And we see that as well with the referrals. Right through the group, people are asking for who's in this area, and then anybody who you would have helped out is saying your name, is saying Drew, is saying this is the guy for Aurelia. So that's awesome.
It's funny, like when I go to different masterminds, whether it's 100 deal fits or whatever, and I'm sitting around with the top players in Ontario or Canada. Those people there are the ones who share the most, I find. And these are the people that are the most successful in our industry. And they are super transparent, super open, even with that. And there's other people in their markets and they have no problem sharing that information. So why would I, small town Aurelia, 4 years into the business, feel that I need to keep this stuff in? And there's no secret sauce, right? There's no silver bullet in this game. I mean, you got to work hard. You got to, have leverage and leverage people out and like you guys. I mean, I couldn't do that. There's a way I could make that 137 without you guys, no question. But I would have to work a lot harder and have to miss time with my family, and my hours would be through the roof. But for me, there's no great. I have a 2,700% return on my investment. Like, good luck getting that anywhere else, right? So
yeah, no. Then that's when it comes to, we've been asked a lot. We get all these leads and agents do all these transactions, and people that are sometimes skeptical as well. They're asking us, well, why aren't you in the game? Why aren't you doing the real estate stuff? Why aren't you going out there and selling homes? And the true answer to that is I'm a geek. I'm an internet geek. I don't want to be selling homes. I don't want to be, and I can make a lot more money by providing my services, which are software based, throughout entire Canada, throughout the United States, instead of concentrating in one small part of a city and doing real estate. So I truly have no interest, and I've told my clients right from get go, I will never become your competitor, and nor do I have an interest in doing that. So
totally.
Yeah, I look at it this way: if I do a lot of what I do and you do a lot of what you do your sales aspect that we will handle all the technical side of things when it comes to internet lead generation. You'll do a lot more of what you do, and I'll do a lot more of what I do. And
100%. Yeah. I mean, like I said, my construction background, I could, I could go lay tile and put hardwood floors in my house, or I could pay somebody that's exactly what they do. That's their profession. They do that, and I'll go sell another house. And I just picked up an extra $8,000, right? So I tried to save $2,000 by doing it myself, or I can make $10,000 selling a house and then pay them the $2,000, and I'm up $8,000 rather than saving $2,000, right? So
yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
I didn't think of it that way in the beginning. I mean, I remember when I go back, and if I go back 20 years ago, working at Radio Shack, was that 20 years ago? There would have been a little bit more than that. No, it was about 20 years ago.
Radio Shack, there's a throwback, eh?
Oh yeah, I worked at Radio Shack, Dixie Valley Mall, and I took my kids there. Have you ever been to Dixie Valley Mall?
No.
No. So it's if you go now, like if you go into that mall, it's like everything is from the 80s. Like they haven't updated the mall in a long time. And I walk in with my kids. I've got 3 kids. The youngest is 6, the oldest is 12, and we walk in and they're like, "What's going on? This is so sketchy. Why is this so sketchy?" They haven't been to a mall that has been upgraded in a while. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is where I used to work."
Yeah, I think the easiest thing for me was, when I look at breaking down what I made and how many hours I work, and then you gave yourself a dollar figure, how much your time is worth per hour.
Yeah.
So say you're $100 an hour, or $50 an hour, or 150, whatever it is, and you have to do certain things, whether it's around the house or this or that. It's like, okay, what? I can pay somebody $25 an hour to do this. Why would I do that myself for my $100? And it's hard to get there sometimes, because it's easy to just grab the remote and throw on the TV too and watch the Masters or something, right? But
yeah,
I look at that 1 hour or that half hour for me cutting my grass. I'll pay the guy, $25, the kid down the street, $25 to cut my grass. And that's a half hour, an hour that I can, make more calls, or do some marketing plans or business plan, or spend time with my kids. I mean, that's just as valuable, obviously,
absolutely.
right? So,
absolutely.
Once you get kind of to that level, you start making those like conscious decisions and get intentional with your time. It's a game changer.
I think the mind never stops working either. Like your mind just keeps going on, and that's the mind does what the mind wants to do. And we never stop working. When you work for yourself, and in real estate as a real estate agent, you're an entrepreneur, you're really working for yourself. So
yeah,
the mind will never stop working. It's just going to keep going and do what you got to do. We've had some questions here that I'd like to read out.
Let's do it.
Could you go through the process of getting the lead to making the call? So what I'd like to do is I can share my screen and show. I don't want to share your screen, Drew, because I want to find, I believe we created a version that allows us to blur out contact info, because we don't want to share contact info of your leads. So we've created one version that actually has the ability to blur out stuff. Let me see whether it's actually live at the moment, so we can try to pop in and actually use it. So give me a quick second. Let me log in here. And by the way, in 2017, Drew, you have a total of 748 leads.
Wow. So there you go. So for 748, I converted 17, right?
17, right. So you did 17 out of the 748, which is awesome. So what is that? The 17 out of 740, let me see the conversion rate here.
It's got to be just over 2%.
17 divided by 748 is 2.2%. So you are on the average. I mean, you're a little bit more than the average, because the average is going to be about 1.5% up to 2%. Honestly, if you're doubling that, you're converting 4% next year, or close to 5% next year, which is incredible. That's what you want to do. A lot of times you don't want to try to get a lot more of these leads. You want to fix your game, improve your game, improve what you're doing before you actually start spending a lot more money. So let me try to see if I can show you guys and take you through that process to show you exactly what how that works.
You might not on mine, because we have Follow-Up Boss as our CRM.
Yeah, no, we have part of like what they'd like to see is the process of getting a lead to the lead coming in and what you see. So we could show that, but I don't want to show an account where the contact info is visible. Last time we did one of these, one of our clients said that their leads got a bunch of phone calls from a bunch of realtors. So
I mean, I can speak to kind of how ours works. I mean, right now we use Follow-Up Boss as our CRM. We are in the transition stage. We are going to be coming on board with AgentLocator. Now you guys have the new the version 2. We're really liking the way that looks and the setup on that. So we just got to figure out the integrations.
I'll tell, just to kind of give a quick intro. So what we are actually doing right now is with Drew's. Since Drew's been using Follow-Up Boss for a long time, and Follow-Up Boss is an incredible CRM system. It's got a ton of functionality, absolutely great CRM system. For those that have been using Follow-Up Boss, and want to continue using Follow Boss, you can absolutely do that. That's not a problem. We have the ability to, as soon as a lead comes into our system, to pass it into Follow Boss as well. If you don't wish to use Follow Boss, if you haven't got used to using a Follow Boss, you don't have to use Follow Boss. You can use our CRM. It does everything that theirs does. I think theirs has a few more functionalities, but you might not need that at all.
Exactly.
But for those that have been using it, they love it, honestly. What's the cost of Follow Boss? Do you know the monthly cost on it?
So I think we are Follow Boss, Sam, is I think it's just under
$120 a month.
Something like that.
Are they US or are they Canadian?
So I think it was 79 American a month.
Okay, so about close to $100 Canadian a month.
Yeah, and then that was plus tax. So yeah, you're probably just over. I think we're somewhere around like that 115 a month Canadian. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So guys, I'm going to show you. I'm going to pull up one of these leads. I'll pull up one of these accounts, and I'll show you exactly what's what the lead went through to get to the point, and then what the agent would see. So, for example, when somebody's looking for homes for sale in Toronto and Vaughan and whatever it is, when they go to our website, they're browsing through listings on our website. And this is a website that we make for you guys. And as they're browsing through these listings, we get them to register to the website by submitting their email or actually using Facebook to continue registration. Once they've come in, once they're actually become a lead, this is what you would see. So you would see their name, the last name, phone number, email address. And then you also get to see exactly what they looked at. So which properties they looked at, how many of them were they looked at. And if we click on more details, we can see exactly which properties it is that they looked at. And also you can see which, how many times they looked at it. So here you see one, here's one. There's a property down here they looked at twice in here. And then you can also see how many images they looked at. So why it's sometimes important to see images is that you can kind of gauge how interested they might be in a property. So this, property they looked at only 2 images, where this one they looked at 19 times. So they might have a little bit more interest in this one than they do that one. So when you make your phone calls, it's a lot easier to actually speak to them because you kind of have an idea of exactly what they're looking at. So Nick, to your question there, this is that process of getting the lead. Now, to make the phone call from our CRM system, you actually have the ability to dial that lead right through the CRM system. You click on dial, you click here to start dialing, and as long as you have a headset, you have the ability to make the call right through the CRM system. And the call is actually logged into your CRM system as well, so you can play it back as a recording anytime you want. As a positive thing, another thing that our system does for you guys automatically is it sends an SMS message to the lead trying to qualify it. So in this case, good evening, Jake. Thanks for logging onto the website to browse listings. I'm going to set you up to get daily updates of new listings. I see you're looking for listings in Mississauga. Is your price range 740 to 760? And is you're looking for a semi-detached? So this was completely automated. That message was put together based on what they were looking at on the website, and then sent off to them. If that lead responds back, the message goes right to your cell phone so that you can actually continue responding to them. Everything gets logged inside a CRM system. And then on top of that, our system sets them up automatically on a prospect match, so on a saved search, to send them listings. So now, anytime new listings come out in Mississauga with that price range, our system will automatically start sending those listings off to them, essentially reeling them back to the website constantly so they can keep looking at listings and you can kind of work out with them. So Nick, that's the answer to your questions. I hope that is a good answer for you. Can you go over the first initial live online lead call? That was the second question, Drew. So, script-wise, you mentioned that you kind of use Drew's script, or not Drew's, Anthony's script.
Yep.
Do you by any chance have that memorized? Is there something quick you can go through?
Just happened to print it off right for you.
There you go.
Just so that I didn't screw it up, because I think the big thing that he does that I really found was he kind of he personalized it, right? So first thing he does, hi, it's Anthony Brown. I work with I'll say an example. Another agent working for you. Hi, it's John Smith. I work with Drew McIntosh and the McIntosh team with Remax Aurelia. How are you today? Boom. He's really big on repeat and affirm the first name. So kind of just, hey, John, whatever. That people like that. People like hearing their own name, and it's kind of weird to say that, but we're vain as a society, and we want to hear our name. So it says, I'll read it kind of word for word, but John, I'll be really quick with your time today. The reason I'm calling is that you actually registered on one of our real estate sites, checking out some properties.
So that was important. The beginning was
100%. One of our real estate, yeah. For him to say one of our real estate sites, now you're like, okay, I was checking out some properties. I don't know if it was his site or whatever site, but they were clearly looking at something. So by him saying, one of our real estate, let's call here, one of our sites, they automatically are like, yeah, okay, I was doing that, right? So
yeah. And we can.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so just a lot of you guys know what we can do for all of you is we can. In fact, I'm going to do it. I'm going to send an email out with the actual script of what Anthony uses, and I have a video with Anthony's permission that I actually made of him doing part of it, so you guys can see it as well. And then there's some other scripts as well that you can utilize. Beverly has an interesting one as well. We'll share those with you guys as well, so you can kind of get the idea on that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, for any script you're going to use is, talk fairly quickly, get fairly straight to the point. But I think the biggest word he uses that was a huge game changer for us in conversion was the word courtesy call.
Okay.
When he said he was making a courtesy call, people immediately relax. They know they're not being sold. That first call cannot be a sale. Right. That first call has to 100% just be, relationship building. So when he says courtesy call, I was like, wow. That if you get a call from somebody, hey, it's a courtesy call from TD, just want to see how you're, yeah, it was great, perfect, whatever. But at least you're going to take the call, right?
You have your wall down, right? So as
totally, yeah.
Anthony mentioned, like as soon as you call and you say you're a realtor, the wall goes up.
100%.
And then it's, how do you tear down that wall? How do you break down that wall? And Beverly actually talked about, breaking down that wall. And she likes to use, when somebody says they're just looking or whatever it may be, just to find out exactly where they're in the process. Just, if I could wave my magic wand and I could find you a perfect home, trying to use that and
100%.
To get information out of them is really important as well. And that's what's incredible.
Your first call is an information gathering, and you want to just dial it in. So then, that next time you call that you have that information, you already have that stuff. So yeah, I think that's key is just, in a perfect world, when you turn the key into your new home, if we found you the perfect home tomorrow, and it's, for me, it's never the same. I'm just not a super focused person in terms of scripts, but
right.
They're all kind of in and around about the same thing. But yeah, so I can send out that script, but Anthony Brown's was definitely a game changer. Like I said, we used part of that with our integration with BombBomb and some other stuff. So.
Right, and then with the coaching that you do, you obviously you go through a progression of getting better and better and better.
Totally.
And Kathleen Black is your coach, so she's coaching you through that process, and she's helping you improve that process a little bit as well.
For sure, yeah. I wasn't built as a script guy, right? So when I'm just a super high I like to just talk and kind of I'm all over the place, and I'm a sticky note guy rather than a list guy. So for me to get kind of dialed into a script was tough. But, when you see those returns on investment, you're like, okay, shit, I got to get my shit together. And if I could nail down the script, wow, what are the possibilities through the roof, right?
You got to have an open mind. There's no question. Totally. And you may think that you know everything, but we clearly know that we don't know everything. And as you progress through life, you kind of understand that more and more. I find books help me out a lot as well. I don't like reading books. In fact, I hate reading books. So I listen to books and I do Audible, and there's a lot of amazing books out there you guys can listen to. There's a few more questions here. So Graham had a question on Facebook. He said, as you moved forward, has your conversion rate increased? And we kind of already went through that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, 2018, where he's looking to double the conversion rate and go from 2.5% or 2.2% to possibly 4 and 4.5%. Now, Maya Fox on Facebook is asking, Drew, how did you build your business having been new in your area? So were you new in Aurelia, or did you always live in Aurelia?
No, never. So I've been here 9 years. My wife's born and raised here. North Bay, I would call home, but she told me at a very early stage in our relationship, this is where I'd be living. So, so I got over that. I got used to that, right? But yeah, it was tough. You're jumping into, new area where you don't have those lifelong friends. Everyone knows a realtor already, right? So for me, it was first in the business was just doing open houses for other agents in my office, getting on to do things a little bit differently, like kind of taking what I thought was a weakness, which was my age of being 26, turning it into a strength, and looking at the Facebook world 4 years ago was a lot different. There wasn't as many realtors on Facebook. So kind of tried to jump on that a little bit. Made a little bit of money, kind of got lucky a little bit with a couple things kind of falling in my lap. And then, kind of got on. So let's see, 2014, I made like 83 grand GCI. Then I went to like 160-ish, 2016, and then was close to 300 in 2017. So just kept kind of trying to double my business for the first couple of years. But I think, going to conferences, like learning, investing. I did a Joshua Smith 90-day mastery course, which was one of the best things I ever did. It showed the power of online leads, and then hooking up with you guys is just kind of taking business to the next level. And what it's allowed me to do is kind of create a scalable business, right? So I know that if I wanted to hire an agent right now, I just have to, either pass off my internet leads to them and build my referrals on my end, or crank up the ad spend a little bit and get a couple more leads per month. And all of a sudden, if I wanted to, I could hire 4 agents right now, kick the ad spend up with you guys and have enough leads to support them, right? So
definitely. So I want to pop on just to kind of, say a couple of things in respect to, the nice thing about internet leads is the fact that it's like a tap. So we have the ability, if you want to get more leads, it's like a tap. Let's open it up more. Let's actually flood the gates, get as many leads as possible. The problem that we start to have is when we start to introduce team members into the process. The problem that we have is the team members not being as dedicated as we are to actually doing what we're supposed to do to convert these leads. So when you do get that team member on, its accountability is going to be key. The first thing you want to do is you want to have weekly meetings with them to go through all the leads. So, okay, John, you've got 30 leads this week. How many leads did you make contact with? How many people did you talk with? How many people did you meet with? How many BRAs do you have signed in a total process? So whenever you introduce other people into that structure, you need to make sure that you have that accountability process. And if you just leave them to be, 90% of the time, nothing happens. So you just want to make sure you're on top of that.
Yeah, I think that's where it's key to not kind of open the floodgates when you just bring somebody on. Like your first fear is, do I have enough business for them? But you do. Give them the internet leads that you currently have coming in. Let them shadow a little bit. Let them, do some role play. Like set aside 2 hours a week to do some role play, or 4 hours or whatever. The accountability is huge. I had an agent. I had 53 qualified leads. I sent her in 2 weeks, and she called 2 of them. Right. So that's 51 potential people that could have walked away. And the funny thing is the 2 people she called, she's out showing houses to.
Wow.
Like, wow, imagine you called the other 51, you'd be the busiest realtor in all of Australia, right?
You got to get motivated by the fact that
literally she's 2 for 2 on internet leads, and treat them like a duty call. A duty call comes in, and they don't get as many as you used to, but a duty call comes in, and you drop everything for that person, right? So when an internet lead comes in, do the same thing. Drop everything, and that is your 100% energy right there. They want response time. I had somebody I called back within 10 minutes of them registering. I was 9 o'clock at night, and I'm conscious to not do anything kind of past 10 because I want to set the standard that I don't work kind of past those hours. But
of course,
called them back at 9 o'clock, and they're like in their car still. They're like, wow, like that was amazing. We actually contacted our realtor, referred us to another agent in your city, and we haven't heard from them in 2.5 days. So we just said, you know what, we're just going to go on this. We're on the site checking ourselves, which was the AgentLocator site. All of a sudden they sign up. 10 minutes later, I'm calling them. They're like, wow, like you're a guy. So now we're getting, a buy and a sell from them because they're not happy with their agent. So all of a sudden it's 2 deals. So
this happens all the time. There's a reason why people say that agents are the worst on the phone. They never call back, and that's just the general nature that how it's been. So if anything, try to make the calls. Now there was a question here by Graham actually. Is how quickly is Drew following up after a lead comes in? So what is your average follow up time? Like how fast do you respond? You have the SMS built into Follow Boss. So does Follow Boss automatically send an SMS?
It does, yeah. So our response time in certain ways is immediate. I mean, as soon as they
So
sign up,
SMS
they're
is
good.
immediate. Yeah.
Yeah, SMS and email. So both
Okay.
sent simultaneously, essentially. Different wordings because, you know, email is going to be a little bit more formal. SMS is a little bit more like, hey, got your info kind of thing. Kind of like just like the one that you showed, just scroll up a little bit, that 740 to 750.
Yeah.
So we grabbed, you know, something similar to that.
Okay.
I'm going to say within probably within half an hour, we're sending out the video, the bomb. Maybe an hour, we're sending out the bomb, and then we're trying to call them. You know, it depends. If I'm around, then we're going to call them right away.
Right.
If I'm out showing houses with the client, whatever, we've at least made 3 contacts with them within that first hour. So we've sent the SMS, we've seen the email. What we like about that is when they get back to us, they're going to get back to us hopefully on one of those 2, and then we know their preferred contact already. We know that they're a texter or they're an emailer or whatever.
Right.
So
those
are simultaneous. Then there's within half hour, an hour, there's an email sent with a bomb video, quick 27-second little video that's sent. And then the call is, you know, definitely that day. If it's in the morning, definitely in the morning. If the lead comes in at 12:30, definitely that afternoon, kind of by 4 o'clock. Just trying to you know, information gather. So
okay.
Roundabout answer, there's kind of how we
so
do
the best way to answer that question is, you know, call as soon as you possibly can.
100%. Yeah.
If you can call right away, call right away. If you can't call right away, you don't have to call immediately, but that's general, you know, what I'm kind of getting off of that.
For sure. And last year we tried to, you know, be a little bit more intentional with calling back even faster, because the market was just changing so fast. So properties were being listed and sold in an hour, right? So when that internet lead came in, we were on the phone like immediately with them. We didn't have the bomb integration, so we were a little bit more kind of phone heavy last year, whereas this year we've gone a little bit more with the video aspect of the bomb and then the follow-up phone call with the courtesy call just to make sure that everything's kind of checking out. So yeah, it's been kind of trial by fire, but our conversion rates are definitely up since when I first started with you guys. So.
Awesome. Brandon is asking, how much is your estimated PPC per month? So I believe you're spending $250 a month.
Yeah.
On Google, and with with the agent locator fees, I believe it's like $430 a month. The Google side doesn't have HSD. Our side has HSD. So that's, you know, 430 something bucks a month. That's with tax and everything on, is what that spend is.
Yeah.
All right. And sorry, 1 second. Let me see here. Anybody else asking a question? Okay, I'm already all the way to the top. There was a question by Nick. How many in your sales team, and what is the split? So I believe you kind of went over that you had people in your sales team, and now you're back to yourself and your assistant.
Yeah, if Nick wants to message me, I mean, I have no problem sharing kind of our commission splits with him. I can send over our full kind of agent contract. No problem sending that off. So if he wants to fire me an email, Facebook message, whatever, I can send him all of that info.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are on Facebook. So you guys, if you want to shoot a message over to Drew, we'll tag him in the post. And I mean, you guys should all know. If you don't know Drew, message me and I'll give you his info, and I'll put you in touch with him so you guys can get those questions answered. All right. So I believe, honestly, I've asked as many questions as I can. If you guys come up with any questions here while we wrap things up, let me know. We'll be, you know, more than happy to answer them. But other than that, what is the one thing that you hate most about internet leads? What do you dislike?
I mean, I don't think anyone likes rejection, right? So that was the toughest thing. It's just kind of the people that just didn't want you to call them, et cetera. But I think that
what would you say your advice to an agent who's just getting into internet leads for the first time to avoid the mistakes that you made? What would you say your advice to them is?
Is don't make calls without knowing what your intent is of the call. So I would just, you know, pick up the phone, and an internet lead came in, I just called them right away, but I didn't really know why. I knew they wanted a house or they were looking for a house, but you know, when you call for a purpose and you're intentional about, like, you know, the script and trying to get all this information, et cetera, that's all you're doing. You're just trying to create a relationship. I mean, all you're doing is kind of just information gathering, relationship building. And that's it. I mean, if someone walked into an open house, you're not trying to sell them necessarily that house hardcore right now. You want to, sure, but you're trying to, you know, get them to like you, trust you, and give as much information as possible. So if you can't sell them that, is just sell them something else, right? And that's all it is. Is know your scripts before you make those calls, because you'll get frustrated. And I got frustrated for sure. There was a point where I was like, maybe internet leads aren't for me, right? But then all of a sudden, I think one came in that I was kind of like, finally, there's one person after like 3 months of kind of back and forth. So I was like, wow, that was a $12,000 deal. They bought a $500,000 house. I was like, okay, cool. That just paid for me for 2 years for AgentLocator.
Yeah.
Everything else is gravy. And now there was no pressure on me to convert. I became myself. I became more relaxed, and I became more intentional. And it, obviously was the game changer.
Yeah. So one of the things that I want to add on to that is before you start calling these leads, understand where they're coming from. Put yourself in the shoes of one of these people that they've come to your site, and get an understanding of exactly what they've gone through to get to that process and what their wants are. Or even to know exactly how they ended up registering to your website. So those are just the most important things to know, because then you kind of know how to deal with it. And even if you don't know how to deal with it, there's so many scripts out there these days that you can, grab. We provide them all the time. We have, every month we have two live webinars where we have this Beverly jump on a call and actually do live calls in front of you guys, so you can kind of hear what she's saying, how she's talking to these leads. Lauren Cooper had a question on, hey boys, how do you convert to the first appointment? Are you converting to a showing, or are you trying to get them in to sign a BRA, buyer representation? So this is something you kind of mentioned on, which is, gauge them and find out where they're at. So your initial first phone call is not going to be immediately to sell them. Your initial first phone call is going to be info gathering call.
Yeah, for sure.
Timeline.
I'm kind of I'm unique. I'm not huge on BRAs. You get burned every once in a while for sure. I'm in the transparency. I wouldn't sign a BRA if it was me. Knowing, and then I've had other guys like Dan Jamison Windsor do his BRA presentation on me. I'm like, damn, I would totally sign this BRA with you, right? Like, that's just not my forte, is convincing people to work with me. I want to work with people that want to work with me, and I feel like if I'm not doing my job, that they shouldn't be necessarily tied to me. So most of the time, I'm also a younger male who's 30 years old, so I feel pretty comfortable meeting people for the first time in remote areas, whereas somebody who maybe isn't 240 pounds overweight like myself wouldn't feel as comfortable meeting somebody for the first time, and you'd want to meet at the office. So you got to gauge that for sure, but I'm not trying to sell them, get that BRA signed before I take them out. No one, I don't know. I just feel like no one wants to be
forced.
sold. Yeah, they don't want to be. They don't want to feel like they're being sold.
There's definitely some scripts. There's definitely things that you can get on that level as well. To try to get people to sign a BRA. There's things that you can say. Sometimes there's a line that I heard. This is a contract that ensures that I get paid, and what's nice about it is that you actually don't have to pay me. Somebody else pays me, but this just makes sure that I actually get paid. So that's one way that you're kind of presenting it, but obviously you have to disclose all the information that what that BRA is all about. So, your initial phone call to these leads is never to sell them. Your initial phone call is always to find out motivation and timeline. And then based on that motivation and timeline, you're going out and pushing, whether you're pushing towards a meeting or whether you're pushing towards an appointment or a follow-up, is really based on that motivation and timeline. Then we have a question from Rory. It says, when getting a voicemail, how often do you follow up with that lead? Every day until you speak with them, or every few days? So with respect to your follow-up process, if you don't get a hold of somebody right away, how many times do you call back?
So we make a note. I mean, we're going to call up to kind of that 15 times. We try not to leave voicemails.
Okay.
Leaving a voicemail gives them an excuse to not call us back. Like, oh, I got the message, I don't have to call them back, right? So we try and leave a little bit of a cliffhanger every once in a while and say, hey, we have all this information. Just let us know the best way. Then if they email us back instead of calling us, then we know we can send an email. But yeah, we're going to call. We're going to call in the first week. We're going to call them 1 to 2 times a day, and then after that, it's going to be once every couple weeks. Follow up, and we're still sending emails and stuff. But I got to jump in like a minute or so.
No worries.
I got a 3:15.
No worries. Yeah, we're gonna end it here. We're already at 2:56,
Cool.
guys. So that's all the questions. There are no more questions. Drew, thank you so
No problem.
much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for sharing.
All right.
If you guys have any questions, we'll help answer. Thanks, Drew. We'll talk later.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. All right. So as Drew drops off here, I'm gonna wrap up things. If you guys have any questions on anything really, you can ask them, shoot an email over to us. You have our contact info, sales@agentlocator.ca for those of you that are looking to sign up. Agentlocator.ca also, if you want a demo, you can jump on agentlocator.ca and get a demo. That is, oops, let me go here. And so if you want to get a demo, see how everything works, you can click here to get a demo, submit your info, and then one of our reps is going to give you a call. And as always, you can catch me on Facebook if you have any questions for me. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. For those of you that are wondering whether this is being recorded, absolutely it is being recorded. We are going to send an email out to everybody. You could also catch this on my live. So I did stream this live to my Facebook. So for those of you that are on Facebook, you can actually rewatch this on Facebook once it completes. And that is it. So again, thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions for us, let us know, and we'll chat with you guys later. And now to end the meeting here.